Hello, friends, and welcome to the second part of this crazy day. This is Tune Up Your Typeform. I'm Nico, one of your co-hosts for the day, and I'm going to be joined today also with Grace that you've met just earlier. Hey, Grace.
Hello, yes, I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Nico. I'm just absolutely bulldozing the workshops and webinars today.
Back to back. This is
Back to
the way we
back.
do things here. All right, so very excited to have you all here. If this is your first tune up, let us know. We want to hear why you came here, why you're interested to see this. But hopefully, you will come out of this with a lot of cool knowledge and interesting stuff regarding Typeform and things you can bring back in your own Typeforms. So let's get started by telling you a bit more what we're going to do today. First, we're going to introduce you to our wonderful tuners, the people that have been turning the knobs and making your forms a bit better. Also, we're going to also introduce the concept of what we call tune up your Typeform. If this is your first time, should give you a global understanding of what it is. Then we're going to go deep into the tuning. We're going to show you the nitty and gritty of how to make your form better. Finally, we'll have some time for Q&A. So this is the opportunity, if you couldn't catch how we did things, to ask for more details or ask for follow-ups. And then we'll end up with some next steps and resources. All right, so let's get to meet our tuners. Grace.
Yes, let's indeed. Okay, so we have got James Thornton, our community manager at Typeform. He's going to be tuning a form today. James's favorite Typeform tool is the Zapier or Make integration. He can go both ways. And as it's spring, we've asked everyone what their favorite flower is, and we'd like you to tell us your favorite flower in the chat as well. James's is the poppy, which is a lovely flower to pick. I love a poppy field. We also have Susie Blaskowitz, our video production lead. You may see Susie around and about, maybe on your internet ads, with various different videos. And obviously, her favorite Typeform tool is video questions. She's true to the brand. And her favorite flower is a lily. How lovely. Oh, Roxanne, you like a hydrangea? Me too. Who else have we got, Nico? We have got Dana Will, who is our expert lifecycle strategist at Typeform. This is Dana's first time tuning a form, but definitely not her first time building a form. So her favorite tool is the brand kit, and the flower is the frangipani, which I had to Google earlier, and I'm glad I did because I also love it. And then finally, Paul the Hare Borealis is our senior product manager. You might have just seen him if you're coming over from the spring release webinar. Paul's favorite Typeform tool is, of course, URL parameters, and his favorite flower is a red rose, a classic. Love it. Finally, one more tuner to talk about. Liz Babinski, our community engagement manager. Her favorite Typeform tool is the Klaviyo integration. She's a big fan of Klaviyo, and her favorite flower is lilac. So yeah, loving all the flowers coming through the chat. Daisies, peonies, lilies, and tulips. Brilliant.
We didn't ask you, Grace, what is your favorite flower?
Oh, that's a really good question, actually. I'm going to say a sunflower.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's yours, Nico?
Well, if you can pick, I have some orchids behind me,
Oh,
Lego version. So I love a good orchid, especially when it's made of plastic bricks. So let me tell you why are we going to do today? What is the whole concept of tune-up? Well, we understand that we're building a tool that is having a lot of features, and then we keep adding new features to it, and you might not take full advantage of it. So here today, we're here to make you forms better. We hope to give you tips and best practices, so at the end, you have a better completion rate. That means like people ending on your form, but they all go to the end and they submit their responses. We also hope that by integrating some of those practices, you will build a better user experience so people are more delighted when they go through your form. This means that you're collecting more information and more meaningful information from your customers that you already know about and your potential leads. In the end, this is helping you to streamline your whole process, connecting this to the rest of your tech stack. So we're going to show you how to make your form sparkle. This is kind of the spring cleaning theme of the day. It's going to be shiny, it's going to be beautiful, flowery if we can. We're going to help you asking the right questions to the right people at the right time. And with this, we're going to use logic. For this, we're going to use logic because logic is what's helping us to make the whole flow conversational. At the end, we're also going to touch on how to integrate your forms with the tech stack, the marketing automation, the website builders, all the other tools that you're using on your day-to-day. But before we get started, maybe we should recap what happened last time.
Yes, absolutely. So last time we had a form submitted to us from Black Band. So what was the form all about, Nico? Well, it was an intake form, and Susie, who you will see in a little bit, tuned it up for Black Band, helped to reduce the number of questions on the form to make it more succinct, added some logic, branching, applied a bit of lead qualification and segmentation, and mapped it all to HubSpot in the process. And Terry from Black Band very kindly has sent us a video to let us know how it's been since he had his form tuned back in December. So let's hear from Terry.
Hey everyone, I hope all is well. And I'm excited. I'm really excited because since the tune-up, I've been using the form. And I did have a few hiccups, and that was all on me. It wasn't anything with Typeform. And so recently started using the form again. And I have a group coming in July. They used the form. It was seamless. It was perfect. I have a group of 7 people who I've known since college. And so it also really, beyond just being clean and seamless and really intuitive, it, elevated my status, right? It really showed that, okay, Terry, he's doing things in a professional manner, which is key, especially with people you've known since college and they have some stories. So all that to say, I love it. Really excited to keep growing and using, different aspects of the form and using more video as well. So hopefully this gives you some insight into why I'm excited and why I plan to double down and keep using Typeform. All right, hope all is well. Have a blessed day.
Love it. Thank you there to Terry for sharing that story. So hopefully that just shows you what can come of a tune-up. So what are we doing today? Our experts are tuning 5 different forms. Let's talk through them. We have a form from Norwich City FC. That's a football club or soccer, depending on where in the world you are, in England. They have a post-match supporter survey that we're tuning. We also have a form from Eric Goriel Studios. Eric is a digital artist based in New York, and he has an order form collecting artwork commissions. Mortgage Line, who are mortgage brokers based in Dublin, they're looking to collect leads with their Typeform. Also Cakesnet, a bakery in South Africa, who have an order form. And Corliss and Solomon, who are an accounting firm in North Carolina that are trying to do weekly check-ins with their staff. So it's a bit of employee engagement going on with this one. So those are the forms we're tuning today.
All right, time to go for some spring cleaning. Get your brooms, get your dusty feather, and let's dive in. First, we're going to talk about Norwich City. As Grace mentioned, it's soccer club in the UK. And at the end of the game, they would like to know, how did you appreciate the experience? And for this, they're sending you a Typeform. The Typeform that you see is already pretty cool. It looks great. But they're also wondering, what else can they do? Are they doing it exactly the way it should be? This is Priyanka that is asking this. And so let's hear from our tuners on how they improve this.
Hey there, James here. So I'm going to be taking a look at Norwich City's post-match survey form for fans. It's actually pretty brilliant already, but let's see if we can make some suggestions for Priyanka. Let's have a look at the form first. It starts off with a lovely welcome screen, and then you get this kind of disclaimer that they will be entered into a prize draw, and that when they submit their information, they'll be contacted, or they might be contacted for further research. Then you go through, enter your contact details at the start, and select which match you attended. And then basically the survey is divided into different sections, which is a nice idea. It kind of breaks things up. So first of all, you have kind of the overall experience. Then you select which kind of visitor you are. Then it's different sections like how to get there, your experience kind of traveling. And then I think the next section was, whether you're a first time fan, the support village. So all the different kind of elements of the matchday experience are there. Great, really kind of well structured. So we don't need to look at that, but there are a few suggestions I have. So first of all, that beautiful design. So first of all, with that disclaimer, we do actually have now a checkbox feature. So you can have people agree to the terms and conditions, which I've linked here. So basically I've split that into two, just to kind of lighten the load. It looks really nice already, but what I might be tempted to do is have images. So you can use the layouts feature to add images. And I might want to break up each section with an image, just so you're kind of giving a bit of a visual cue there for each of these. So I've added these here. You can switch to mobile view, switch to desktop, and you can kind of play around with the layout here. I quite like this one. Another useful thing that you might want to add is duplicate response prevention. So obviously you're offering a prize. You don't want someone to be just spamming you over and over again. So you can turn that on, and then there are various options there to make sure that the person isn't filling it in more than once. Another super useful thing for long surveys like this is the partial submit point. So you can add up to 3 of these on your plan. You basically insert it into the form strategically. So for example, I can add it here after the contact details. So it goes in there. And then that means that any data collected before this point is saved in your results. So you'll see here, if I just switch over to results with these dummy responses, you have partial and completed. So you still have access to the data up to the partial submission point. And one good thing that you can do with that is you can actually then follow up. So say people started your survey but didn't finish it. You can use the messaging follow-up feature to add follow-ups here. So you can set a trigger for any partial response. So when someone submits a partial response, you can send them an email. So for example, you could say, thanks for taking the survey. We noticed you didn't finish answering all the questions. Please dive back into this survey. One thing that I think will be perfect for your survey is the Clarify with AI feature, which is available in our growth plan. What you can do with this is you can have AI ask follow-up questions to an open text question, which basically allows you to dig in automatically and get richer information from the survey taker. So let me show you in action. So here I've applied it to the what can you do to improve your next, what can we do to improve your next visit to Carrow Road question. I've turned that into a Clarify with AI question. So let's see what happens. Improve wheelchair access. How specifically could wheelchair access be enhanced around the stadium? Make more ramps. And then it will ask another one. Where in the stadium would additional ramps be more beneficial? In the concourse. There we are. And then you'll see in the results, you actually get a summary. So AI will actually do a summary here of what the recipient said, what the form filler said. So here it's saying the user suggests improving visits by creating a more welcoming atmosphere. They recommend shaking hands with every fan on arrival and giving out free gifts. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's an interesting way. So I would apply this to several questions, the ones where you really want richer information. Another thing you might want to do is turn the survey into an opportunity to collect testimonials. One cool way of doing that would be to use our video question feature, video answer feature. So here you can ask via video. Thank you for coming to the match. Obviously, it wouldn't be me asking. Maybe you could get one of the players, or even Delia herself could ask. And then people can reply via video, and that means you'll have some video testimonials that you can use if that's something you want to do. One thing I noticed with the getting to Carrow Road, which is a small thing, but maybe you could make this multiple selection. Here, since people might get the train and then walk, or they might cycle and then get a taxi. So yeah, just to know that there's a multiple selection option there. Okay, so that's it. I hope that was helpful, Priyanka. If you have any questions, or if you end up implementing any of this, do let us know and keep in touch. We'd love to know how you get on. Hope it was useful. Cheers.
Thank you, James. That was a beautiful tune-up that you've made here. So if you're trying to do this at home, reminder here. So adding images, using the checkbox that we just released, adding a way to prevent duplicates, partial submit and follow up for messaging and engaging back with your customers, clarify with AI so people give you actual feedback and not just like a first 3-word sentence, and then making this whole thing personal with video. And if you're a football club, I'm sure you want to have your players or the leaders of the club to talk on video. All right, time to move on to our next tune-up of the day.
That's right. Next one is Eric Coriel's Studios. So this one is being tuned up by our video editor, Susie. So let's have a look at what Eric has submitted so far. So as he said, he has this commission request form. So he's making very bespoke digital artwork. So he's looking for ways to make sure that people are getting into his form and requesting for those commissions. He really wants to encourage people to sign up and commission him to make something, really. So he wants us to kind of check over and see whether what he's got currently is working. So we can hear from Eric because he submitted a quick video. So let's hear what he has to say.
My name is Eric Coriel. I'm a digital artist based in Brooklyn, New York, and I use Typeform to accept commission requests for custom portraits of digital files. Let me show you what I mean by that. Quick. This is my latest project. It's called Into the Machine. Here are a series of portraits, digital files. Click on one just to get a quick example. And for somebody who might be interested in this kind of thing, you go just about anywhere on the website, find a commission link, maybe read a little bit, and then when they're finally ready, click here to get started, go into Typeform, and start the process. So what I'm really interested in is the language that I'm using intuitive? Can this process be made more efficient? Is there any way to kind of increase the number of inquiries that I get through my website? All right, thanks so much. Looking forward to the feedback. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you there to Eric. We are going to see what Susie has done with the form. Let's pop over and see what Susie's done in terms of tuning everything up. We'll wait for Susie. She's coming. She's a bit late.
Hey, I'm Susie. I am the video educator here at Typeform, and I was tasked with tuning up Eric's form. So just a little reminder, this is a form for those who want to commission a piece of artwork. So it's almost like a lead generation form, let's call it. Okay, so just to go through the form a little bit quickly, and then we can see how I've tuned it up. So here we have the welcome screen. And then starting off asking about the files that they're going to upload to be able to create this piece of art. So there's an upload question, which makes sense. And then there is another question if the file is larger than 10 megabytes, and you can add a link. And then again, there's another upload question for specifically for screenshots. There is a question asking people what their motivation is behind getting this piece of art. And then there's another question about the commission fee and payments. And then at the end, just another question asking if there's anything else that they want the artist to know. And then finally, email question to be able to contact the person who has requested this commission for, about the actual task at hand. Okay, so that is the general form. So I believe that the form is actually done pretty well, but there are a couple of key areas where I felt like could benefit from a bit of tuning. So what I've actually done is I've done a two-tier tune-up, so to speak. So I've done one where I'm sticking to the features that are on the basic plan, which is the plan that Eric's on. And then I've added another section where I'm featuring some other features that are on a higher tiered plan, but that could really also benefit this form. So one of the things I did was cleaned up a little bit of the language. I felt like maybe it could have been a little bit more inviting. So as you can see here, asking about the file that they're uploading. But again, it was just that was pretty light touch that I added there. And then in question 4, so here's what he was asking for a link if the files were bigger than 10 megabytes. So a link to Dropbox, Google Drive. What I did was I actually changed this to a website question. This helps to verify that it's a link that people are adding here, and it helps validate that link. So when it then comes later to the looking at the results and the interpretation of the data, it's much easier to see because it's all in the same format. I also consolidated some of the questions, like additional follow-up questions about screenshots. So here, put them both into the same multi-question page because they're related to the same topic, and that kind of makes things maybe go a little bit quicker. And then as well with the commission fee for the artist, this again was a short text question. I added this as a number question. That way you can ensure that whatever people are writing here is standardized as a number. So that's perfect for this purpose here. And then where I really thought it could benefit was the embedding of the form. So as you can see on the website here, there's a section for the commission and then some information. And then at the bottom of the page here, you would click Get Started, and then you would be taken in a separate tab to that form. So what I thought could be cool was to have the form embedded more into the website. So here in the Share panel, under Embed in a web page, you can see all the different embed options that you have here. So what I thought could be cool was to have a side tab embed so that wherever they are on the page, they can already automatically open up that form, and then it just kind of pulls out to the side and you can fill in that form directly from here. So it really just keeps you immersed in the experience, and you can embed this. It doesn't have to only be on that contact us page, but it can be throughout the whole site. So you can actually get a little bit more exposure that way as well, because you can have it appear on any page that somebody's on. Okay, so those are the changes that I made based on the plan that Eric's already on, which is the basic plan. Now I'm going to show you some changes that I made with premium features from some of our growth plans. Okay, so one of the main things I did here is to add a welcome video. So I think especially if you're an artist or even if you're a small business, it's really important to build rapport very quickly. And I think especially with art, it's really nice to see the artist behind the work. And because this project can be a little bit complicated to understand just immediately, it could be really, really helpful and really nice to see the artist and explain the project and explain a little bit about what's to come in the form and with the project itself. So I thought this was a really cool and impactful way to add a video to the form and to make it more engaging. And then you can see here, I also moved up the contact information to the top of form. And the reason I did that, so in the previous form, it was at the very bottom. The reason I did that is because I added a partial submit point after that question. So partial submit point lets you collect partial responses. So anyone that just watches the video, let's say, and then fills in their contact information, you're then automatically already collecting that response data. And so if somebody drops off for whatever reason, maybe they filled in half the form, they forgot, they got distracted, for whatever reason, they stopped filling in the form, you still have all the information that you collected before that partial submit point. So then you can then go ahead and reach out to them, kind of follow up on that lead and see where you can go from there. So that's just a really great way to capture people that may have dropped off on your form. And then finally, I've also added a video answer here. So this lets people answer in a video form. So I think in the original form, there's a question along these lines asking people why they decided to do this, why do they want to get a digital portrait of the files. And I think this could be something that elicits a lot of passion in people. And I think there's nothing more effective than being able to communicate that on video. So this is a great way also for the artist for Eric to get to know who he's going to be doing this commission for. And it's also just a really great way for people to be able to explain in detail what they're looking for and why they're doing this. And also, not everyone is comfortable being on camera, so we made sure to allow the text answer in case people just want to fill that in via text. So these are the ways that I was able to tune up the Typeform based on the plan that Eric's already on, and then maybe adding in a couple more premium features. So hope you enjoy.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Susie. Oh, she's back again then. So just to recap, what did Susie do? She tweaked the language slightly on the form. She made some edits to the website and number blocks just for data validation, consolidated some questions. She added that cool side tab embed. I love that suggestion of putting it across the website. Also the welcome video and the video answer, really great ideas there around building that relationship between the artist and the person requesting the commission. And of course, partial submit point as well. So yeah, great job. Hopefully that is helpful for Eric and anyone that's watching this. Great recommendations.
Yeah, so we talked about sports, we talked about art. Now it's time to talk about my favorite hobby, finance, right? And mortgages. And for this, we're helping the team at Mortgage Line, based in Ireland. They're the experts on mortgage and brokers. Paul is going to help them here. They have some questions about conversions, how they can increase conversion, making the form a bit more intuitive. I feel like there might be a lot of questions in that form, and overall improving the whole experience. But let's hear first from Stephen, who is the managing director at Mortgage Line.
Hi, Stephen Hamilton from Mortgage Line here. We are a mortgage broker based in Dublin, Ireland, and we've been using Typeforms for a few years now. Really happy with them, but I'm sure there's a lot of improvements we can make. So so we've been using Typeforms on our website to collect mortgage leads, feed them into our CRM. When a customer or potential client fills in the Typeform, they're fed into our CRM, they're sent an automatic email with a Calendly link, and in the hope that they'll hopefully book a call with us. And we've been using Typeforms for 2 or 3 years now with minimal changes. I'm sure there's a lot of updates and improvements that we can make to our Typeforms, and really interested to get a second opinion from the experts, so to speak. So really looking forward to your recommendations. Thank you.
Hello everyone, here Paul, Product Manager at Typeform. I will be tuning up this form from Mortgage Line, which is an Irish company offering a mortgage advisor and broker services. They use Typeform basically for lead capture. So you can see here that the form that we will be tuning up is triggered from this CTA, from this button here, and it opens in a new screen, and it's basically a lead capture and profiling form. So if we look at it from here, there's a first screen, which is kind of a welcome screen. Then there's a profiling question around the stage in the process to buy a home the lead is. Then they are asking for the first name, email, phone number, and then they are implementing something that is very interesting. They are hacking kind of a captcha by asking the lead to enter the numbers and the letters here, and they are using some branching logic to make them go back if the branching is wrong. Something also worth calling out, I love that they are using already URL parameters to track the source of the lead, right? So that they can understand what CTA is driving more traffic or source and so on, and some other custom URLs also most likely to track where the lead comes from. What can we do, right? So actually, the first thing that I would like to tune up in this form is the branding, okay? While I like that it's already almost or very much on brand, right? You can see it's using the logo and so on. There are some things that we can improve. The first thing I will do is update the logo because it's not a PNG, right? You can see that the background is not transparent. So if we were to use a different background color, it would look a little bit off, and we can also increase a little bit the quality. So what I did here is actually obtain the logo from their website, and we can just upload it and substitute it. So you can see that it already looks a little bit better. Then in terms of the font, you can see in their website that they are using a bolder one here, and then for the body, one that is a little bit more readable. This one is more likely to be Roboto. So I would suggest to move from the one that they were using now to something that is a little bit easier to read. So we will move to Roboto, okay? Another thing is that they are using many images in all the screens, and unless the image, is truly on brand or it's truly, let's say, needed to engage the lead, we recommend removing them because they can distract, right? So I do like that in the welcome screen we have this professional looking person, right? Because this is a high touch, high value service. But maybe, maybe this one, maybe we could keep, but this one for sure I would delete so that they can focus on what they are doing. This one I would delete, and this one I would delete. This makes the form filling process faster, okay? Now let's move to the content. Okay, first thing that I would do is, this is acting as a welcome screen, but it's not a welcome screen. So I would suggest to move to a welcome screen and change a little bit the copy. Okay, so I would be a little bit more direct. Then I really like this question, but I think that, so this question is a lead profiling question, right? This helps us understand the quality of the lead, and it can help us tailor the conversation that we'll have with the lead. I believe that we can go one step further and ask one more question to provide our lead so that later on we can add some branching to customize the flow of the lead. So for instance, we could ask what they are expecting or what is most important to them when it comes to working with a mortgage broker. And depending on the pain point that they are trying to address, a lead may be more likely to convert and pay or less likely. And this can help us prioritize them, right? So here, what I would make sure is that we allow them to select as many as they want so that we can understand their profile. And then something that I think that will be of high impact is that instead of asking the contact details into 3 questions, and here, the question is very difficult to see, we can remove all these and instead use contact info block. And then, instead of using this hack reCAPTCHA, if you are on a growth plan, so actually they are on a business plan, but if they are willing to upgrade to obtain more features such as video questions, video answers, and reCAPTCHA, they can use spam prevention, reCAPTCHA spam prevention, so that they can remove all this friction from the respondent experience, right? So in this case, I will enable advanced prevention of spam. So basically what this will do is use Google's algorithm to identify spam, and any response that is a high chance of being a spam will be stored in a different section of the results tab for you to evaluate, okay? And you won't be charged for the spam answers unless you want to recover them. Mortgage Line is doing currently, which is inviting all the leads to book a call with them. And this is happening after the form is being filled because they send an email through their CRM to the new lead. And I believe that there's something that we can do here to increase the conversion rate or the booking rate of the lead that we care about, which is actually adding a Calendly block here so that they can book a consultation directly from Typeform. So I will set this up and come back to you. And not only this, but they also added a second end screen for those who have booked a time with us already, right? And what they've done is that only the leads that are of high quality based on the information that we have are invited to book a slot with us through Calendly, and the other goes to the ending in which we say that we will reach out to them soon. So what I've done here is add some branching. They don't need to receive an email and click again and so on. So the funnel, the shorter, the better. And if you use Calendly within Typeform, you can reduce the size of that funnel. One last thing that we could do actually is these two forms are very similar. Okay, so what we could do is merge these two buttons into one, change the CTA so that it's a proper call to action, such as book a consultation with us and start the process or something like this. And we could use branching to ask these questions, whether they are looking to buy a house or they are willing to switch mortgage inside Typeform. And using branching, we can actually have two different types of questions based on their needs. This way, we can also simplify the decision from your website visitors here, and this should also increase the number of leads that you collect. What do you think? Would you have done anything differently? Hello, everyone.
Amazing. Thank you, Paul, for this. And well, now you spilled the beans. I thought it was your skill that made you, or your special power that made you identify the font. But it looks like you use ChatGPT, as everybody should do. So just a recap on what happened and what Paul did to the mortgage line form. So he improved the branding, as we saw, with a better logo, a better quality logo. I did a one-click screen so people know what they're gonna do some lead qualification with logic, made the forms, the context questions in one block using the contact info questions, adding a spam prevention so you don't have to go through a hack for those captchas, and then finally putting the Calendly directly into the form. So hopefully you'll see more conversion, you see more people interested in your business. Now, time to move to some sweet new forms. Whoop.
Love it. One of my favorite topics, cake. So next up we have Dana, who's joining us to tune up the form for CakesNet. So let's find out a little bit about CakesNet. So they have this cake order form that's on their website. And they're looking at ways that they can improve the flow, make it more conversational, maybe look at the design of it to better fit the website. And they're also looking at what they can do following on from the order form. So maybe integrating with something like Google Sheets to be able to follow up or archive the orders. So they're looking at automations as well. Let's throw it. Oh no, wait, before I throw it to Dana, we're going to read what George, who is the form creator, I'm using it for my mum's bakery in South Africa, taking detailed made to order birthday cakes. Do we have the correct flow? Can we get help with setting up a form to get good responses? Yes, you can, George. Dana has got you. Let's throw it over to Dana to see what she's done.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dana from Typeform's marketing team. And today I'm going to tune the order form for CakesNet, which is a South African family bakery. We'll first go over the form as it is today, and then I'm going to show you the tweaks that I've made and how I made it. So if you want to order any of those beautiful cakes, you head over to Order Now, and you can see that the Typeform or the order form is embedded into the website. The first thing I thought was, well, we need to make this look a little bit different so that it blends in nicely with the rest of the design of the website. And I'd also like to have a welcome page so that we don't scare people off with that long list of terms and conditions right at the beginning. So we accept those, and then we leave our contact information. And then there's the chance to select your cake. There's more than 400 different cakes. So if at that point in time you don't know which number you want to pick, you need to go back to cakes, select your category, select your cake, check the prices and the price list, and come back to the order form. And I think this is another thing that we could improve. So let's say we picked our cake and then we have the chance to personalize it, upload images, pick the collection date and time and cake box. And once we've submitted it, we will get a order confirmation that is sent through Typeform, where we basically confirm the order. Now, let's see what we changed. Here you can see the preview of the new form. At first sight, you see that it looks a lot more like the rest of the website. And I started with a welcome screen that really draws people into the process. Now, the nice thing about that welcome screen is that you could now use this Typeform as a standalone as well, and use it on your social media profiles or in campaigns. You can embed it in emails, etc. So that way you can get it out to a lot more people. So let's say start. You leave your contact details, and here are the terms and conditions, which are a lot shorter than before because I linked to the terms and condition prices, and I used the new Typeform checkbox block here. Okay, so confirm that. And here's the other big change that I did. Imagine you don't have your cake number and you need help, then I'll direct you to the cake categories. You pick your cake category and then you pick your cake. I also included sizes and prices so that you've got everything at one site. Customization, I put that into one page, but the rest basically stays the same. At the end, you'll get an order confirmation as well. I put that up here. And this time it's sent from Cakesnet, from your own email address, which in this case is mine. I changed the formatting a little bit, but the content is basically the same, but I added a call for reviews at the end, which is always a good thing to have. Now, let's see how we made those changes in the backend. The first thing we do is apply a brand kit to get that design. So you simply click on new brand kit, add your URL, and then it pulls your logos, colors, and all you need into the brand kit so that you can start creating themes, which I've done here, where you can define the colors of your questions and buttons and all of that. And I also applied a background image. Just a note here, if you use background images, make sure that they work for both desktop and mobile. Rendering on mobile can be a bit funky at times. All right, back to our form. The biggest change was the cake selection process. And what I did here is use the picture choice. You can supersize the images if you like. It just takes a bit more scrolling then, but you can see that more clearly. And now with those different categories that I set up, we need to pay close attention to the logic in the backend. Because we need to make sure if people click on animals and bugs in the overview page, you get to the right page. So I had to set up the logic here. All right. Okay. Now, last but not least is the email confirmation. And due to the complexity here, people can pick their cake number in all of these different slides. We need to build logic in the emails. And this is something that the Typeform follow-up feature is not yet able to do. So as a workaround, I set up a Zapier automation. First of all, I sent all my entries, all my submissions to a Google Sheet. And you can see that here, like the numbers pop up in the different columns, in the different categories. And then I connect that Google Sheet to Zap. And it's important to point out, we need one Zap for all the different categories that we have. However, it's just the first one that takes a bit of work. The rest is really easy copy and paste. So this one is for the toddler category here. And we tell Zap, well, only let them through if they selected toddlers here. And then we connect it to our email provider, Gmail in that case.
and define the from name, email addresses, subject line, and all of that. And then we can pull in from our Google Sheet all the data dynamically. And as I mentioned, the only thing that we need to change if we set up the next ZEP for the next category is really change the category here and there, save, and done. Yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it.
Awesome job from Dana there. Some really nice changes to the welcome screen, even not stream, updating the theme, creating that background kit, switching out the T's and C's to be shortened and in that checkbox. Love the use of picture choice and the logic, and also all of that follow-up stuff as well. All awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Dana. I'm going to throw it over to you, Nico, because I know we're running out of time.
Yeah, and now it's time to talk about our last tune-up of the day with Liz, a company called Corliss and Solomon. They're based out of North Carolina, and they're using Typeform for an employee engagement that they send weekly to their employees. So let's see what they want to tell us. Jane here is asking, I guess like a lot of people asking is like, am I doing the right thing? And they also have a question about changing the question on a weekly basis. So let's hear from Liz.
Hi, I work on the community team at Typeform, and I'm really excited to tune up this form because I think this might be my most technically kind of ambitious tune-up so far, but not too technical that you can't do this. So we have this weekly HR check-in for Corliss, I hope I'm saying that right, and Sullivan. Basically, it's 5 questions, and every week they send out the same questions. So I thought the form actually looked pretty good to begin with. There was already branding, it was pretty simple, the questions weren't super long or complicated. However, one of the challenges was the fact that they wanted to change out this question every single week and do it automatically. As many of you may know, we don't have this feature, at least not at the current time. However, I was able to find a workaround that I think will actually be a really cool solution if you want to do this, or hopefully they implement this. However, before I get into how to build that, one suggestion I really want to make that I think is really good, especially for HR teams or anyone wanting to get really good depth of information, is one of the questions on the form was, did you face any challenges at work this week that we should be aware of? This was originally I think a short text question. I changed it to our new video option that gives the respondent the option to answer with video or text. I think especially if you're asking something really emotional or you want to kind of really understand how someone is going through something, sometimes they're not the greatest at describing that in text, but they can be really good at describing it in video. And I think that can be a really great way to gain insights on your team, how the company is doing, and just overall get a sense for how people are feeling. So definitely recommend switching this out with video. I have found personally that video gives me a better idea of how people feel than text, so I can vouch for that. Now, as far as this question goes, it obviously looks really weird right now, and that's because I've been testing this on and off a lot. Very big shout out to Andrew, who's one of our solutions engineer, who actually had a workaround for this for Video Ask and helped me work through this for Typeform. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Make. If you haven't used Make, it's kind of like a even more technical, but not so technical that you don't understand it version of Zapier. And honestly, it's a pretty easy solution to set up. So what we're going to do in Make is we're going to do a thing called scenarios. Basically, we're going to have a storage of a bunch of different questions. We're going to update the form, and then we're going to delete the question that has been used because we obviously don't want to reuse it. Now, the only tricky part with this is I haven't quite been able to get it to randomize those questions. However, if it is deleting the question that's already used, at least you know it won't be used again. Now, I'm setting this up on the free plan, so if you're like, oh God, this could be like too expensive, thankfully it's not. It works on the free plan. However, you may have to pay for it if you obviously use it, in larger extents. The first part of our scenario is this thing called a data store. I like to think of it as like, we're going to the store to get data. I don't know why, that's what comes to my mind. So here's where we're going to store all of those questions that you could possibly want to ask in this form. To set this up, you're going to see that I already have this up, but you're going to want to create your first data store, and to do that, you'll click the add button. Now, I have an error, but you won't see that. On my side, when we go to add it, you'll see that I already have my data store set up. In the data store, I have a key, which I've left blank, the question, and all of the possible answers. Now, when you go to set this up, it'll look like something like this. You'll have a data store, there'll be nothing there. You'll add a data store, and obviously here you would have the option. When you do this, if it will let me, I'll edit mine because it doesn't want to go. you'll set up your data structure. To do this, you'll go under here, edit, you'll add the name, question, another name. So I have my question, I have answer 1, answer 2, answer 3. So pretty easy to set up. Now, if you're like, okay, where do I add this information? Once you create your data store, you'll go to browse, and then you'll edit the question and all of the answers here. So all you have to do is click in, question, edit it, answer, etc. So I'm going to add one right now so you can see what that looks like. So if I worked in HR, what would I ask? How happy does it work? Thank you. I have no idea if this is an HR question, but we're going to do it anyway. Happy, content, and that is fine. There we go. And then we're going to hit save. Now, if we go back to our data store here, basically all you need to do is just select questions. So this is my data store that we just saw, questions, have the limit to be 1, and that's it. That's all you have to do, pretty simple. Next, now this is probably the most complicated part, but thankfully it's actually not as complicated as I thought it was going to be. We're going to make an API call. This API call is going to update the form. Now, if you don't code, it might seem scary, but thankfully Andrew helped walk me through how to do this, so it wasn't super scary for me, but then also for all of you. So what you're going to need to do is basically get what's called the JSON of your form, which is like all of the code to your form. Now, if you're like, I don't know how to do that, thankfully we do have an article on this. There's this article in our help center, pre-select the answers for form links, that walks you through how to do this, and it shares the link at the bottom here. There's this link, and I have my Typeform UID, which I found in the URL here. This comes after form. I replaced it here, and then I got all of the JSON here. When you get it, it'll probably look like this, so all you have to do is press pretty print, if I can say that. We're gonna select all, copy, and then back in here, you're going to see this. Now, I've already selected it, but just so you understand what's going on, we first need to fill out the URL. Now, all you have to do is fill out everything after this. So when you make an API call to URL, this is the API call that we're going to do. All we need to do is enter this information. And we've done that here, except you're going to replace that form ID with the form ID that you saw here. Next, the method is going to be put. And the reason I know this is because here it says put. Pretty easy. Now, this is where we add all of the information here, down here. And if you're like, I don't know what this means, don't worry, it's pretty easy. So if we're going to update the questions and the answers, all we have to do is find that question. So I'm going to scroll down. Sometimes what I do, if it's a really long form, is just search for the question title or the original one of the form that I'm working on. In this case, what I did is remove the title of that question, added the question from our data store here. Now you just want to remember to make sure you have these quotations around it. That's what the API call will need. And now you'll see these things, so like labels. And if you remember that 4, that was the answer that we saw. So we're going to take that out. Now you're going to replace the content that will be here, which will be the answers you originally had. Go and select here, and you'll click answer 1, answer 2, answer 3. So for the first label, answer 1. The second, answer 2, answer 3, etc. I have some duplicating ones because I got lazy, but that won't be you because you won't be lazy. And then you'll hit save. So basically what we're doing is we are grabbing the question and the answers that we want from our data store, making a little purchase, then making an API call, which is basically sending information to us at Typeform and saying, hey, I want to update the form. Can you change the question title and the multiple choice? Now, one important thing to remember is that you can change the text of the question, the multiple choice answers, but if you change the entirety of the type of question, like we go from multiple choice to short text, that will delete your previous responses. So definitely make sure not to do that. Now, next you might be like, okay, so we've changed that out. What's this question? So now we're going to go back to our data store. So if you go to like a regular store, you might be like, you might notice if you purchase something, someone else can't purchase it. They might be able to purchase the same version, but they won't be able to purchase what you have. So ideally, if we're sending a new question every single week for our HR form, we probably don't want to send the same one again. So now we're going to go back to our data store. We're going to have questions, and the key is going to be the key here. So you'll search key, grab it, and basically what we're going to do is select delete a record, and it's going to delete a record. Now, one thing I haven't done here because I don't need to run this all the time is set a time for this. So you might want it to run every single week. You'll see this little arrow here. You're going to run the scenario at whatever time frame you want. So say on Monday you want to change out the question, you can do that here, or day of the month, the time, etc. However, for the purposes of this recording, I'm going to run this once so you can see what it looks like. Just gotta move my face. We're going to run once. Ooh, it's all happening. Now let's go to our form, see what happened. And ooh, our question changed. It's super exciting. Now we're going to go back to our data store and make sure that that question isn't there. So you can see this works in real time. So we're going to browse and let it update. And there you have it. The question's deleted, so you'll never have to worry about it being used again. Now, I know this is a little bit complicated of a setup, but I think once you have a setup, it's basically you set it and forget it, and it does the job for you. I'm going to publish how to do this in the community because I think this will be helpful for others. And I'm going to work on the randomization. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I hope this helps you. And if you would like help getting that set up, Jen, please let me know. And if anyone else in the community would love to see a solution like this, let me know, and I will get this published for everyone.
Wow, Liz, this was something else. Welcome to the dark side, I will say. Did we miss? Oh, sorry. I was confused why I was saying James here. Yes. So developers doing stuff with API, I really encourage you to test it out. It's pretty cool. And yeah, if it's not complicated, just follow the instruction and it says put, you put a put. So try it. Data store is a good example. You can do that with a Google spreadsheet. You can do that with a Notion database. It would work the same way. Can't wait to see this article in the community. Now, this is concluding the end of our things, but we have some of our tuning, but we have, we're going to bring all the speakers back here. So if you have any questions about the stuff they implemented, this is the time to ask. Welcome, folks.
Welcome, welcome. What a session.
I know. Even I'm tired and I did this.
Yeah, incredible tunings. I don't know if we've done 5 before, so well done, everyone.
It's a world record.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't worry, Roxanne. I feel the same. Wore me out as well, but in the best way. One and done.
I'm not sure if we have any questions. I think everyone is shell shocked from that grand finale, to be honest.
Yes. I guess. I mean, there was one question in the chat regarding the scheduling. Someone was asking about a Cevical integration. So what we showed mostly was with Calendly. And she was asking about Cevical, which is another vendor, another provider for scheduling tool. Paul, I don't know if you have any insights.
I can take that. I know that we're exploring adding additional scheduling tools, but I don't think that we were considering that one, unfortunately. Just remember that, I mean, there's one trick that you could still do, which is use the redirect to URL and ending type so that you can immediately, right, upon submission, you can immediately redirect. I mean, whoever you want to redirect, maybe just some of your respondents, not all of them, right? As we did in the tune-up, to this scheduling page, right? So you can still find a way to quickly send people to schedule a call with you, irrespective of the integrations that we offer inside Typeform.
Exactly. So everything that you have already done on the lead qualification will work. Just that the last step, instead of booking directly, is this redirection. Did we see anything else on the chats? Didn't see anything.
So, one note. Oh, that's James. We will contact
Undercover.
Yes, very important. We will be telling everybody that had their form tuned today what we've done with it if they couldn't make it to the live session. So we can help support them with implementing any of the changes that they might like to make. Yes.
All right. Wow. Well, thanks again, tuners. Maybe it's time for us to conclude and say our goodbyes. But before you leave, let's chat about what we get for you.
What's next? Yes, we have been recording this, so we will be sharing the recording with everybody tomorrow in via email, and also obviously in our beloved Typeform community, so you can watch back anytime. I know there was a lot of information to take in today, so definitely worth bookmarking that page and coming back to it whenever you need it. If you'd like to give us any feedback, we of course love to hear it. You can scan these QR codes that are on the screen for you and tell us what you think. We love to hear about it. We definitely need to know, is there something else you want to see? And then finally, have you already subscribed to Informed, our newsletter? If not, then if we go one step further, we can get you to sign up with the next QR code that's coming now. There it is. So you can keep up to date with all the latest from Typeform's marketing team. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us, and thank you to our awesome tuners. Thank you also to everyone that submitted a form, because there was lots, and sorry we couldn't get to them all.
Lovely. See
Thanks,
you next
everybody.
time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Send us your forms to tune for next time. Stay tuned for the next tune-up.